Hi, it's Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So let me talk first this week about where we are with COVID. So a couple of things to know. Cases are still going up, for one thing. We are at about 28 cases a day in the city, which is a lot more than it was even a month ago, and it's because of the Delta variant. Almost all of the new cases are from the Delta variant, and about 13%, 12%, 12 to 13% of the new cases are breakthrough cases. That is to say, they are cases of people getting infected even though they've been vaccinated, which means a couple of things. One is if we got to get people vaccinated for sure, because the vaccines do work. The people who did get infected who were vaccinated didn't get sick, and of course it's only 13% of the total. And then secondly, if you are vaccinated and are vulnerable, if you have an underlying health condition, you have to be careful. We just had a gentleman in his 30s just this week die from COVID. He was not vaccinated, and so the lesson is the vaccines work. Even if there is a breakthrough case, it's not likely to be serious, but we have to be vigilant. So we continue to make the vaccines readily available at clinics and in other places. We've issued an order to make sure that city employees have to get vaccinated. That will be implemented over the next couple of weeks. We hope that other employers will follow suit. Some have already, but the more that we can get our vaccination numbers up, the better off we'll all be. And in addition to that, folks should know that in our schools this year, we'll start off with everyone wearing masks as a precaution. If we get to a point where it's not necessary, people can start taking the masks off. The school department will make that decision, but for the foreseeable future, masks will be worn. That's not to say that there's going to be remote learning. That's not something that we're going back to this year, nor are we doing other restrictions. And we're taking all the precautions, the mask wearing, the vaccination, so that we don't have to go back to restrictions. So let's just keep that in mind. A couple of other things. So the federal government has made available a considerable amount of money to the city, and so we're moving forward with getting public input on how that money should be spent. There are surveys on the city's website. I encourage everybody to take those surveys to voice where you think that money should be committed. There are things that we can do. There are things that we can't do with the money. It's governed by federal law, but we want to make sure we have all the best ideas out there on the table. So I encourage you to weigh in and tell us what you think. The last thing I just want to say is I just want to pay tribute to Colonel Herbert Waters, who passed away this week at the age of 90. He led a very rich and consequential life. He grew up in the city and was a graduate of New Bedford High School and Providence College. He was one of the first African-American commissioned officers in the United States Marine Corps, and was a Korean War veteran, just real singular accomplishments. And he remained in the Marine Corps Reserve for over 30 years. And for those who knew him, he always was once a Marine, always a Marine, and he continued throughout his life to hold himself to really high standards. And that includes in the area for which he's probably best known, and that is the former principal at Kearney Academy, where he made himself a national reputation as an urban educational leader. And so, and he did many other things. He was an aviator. He was a marathon runner, and was just an all-around great guy and somebody who really made his mark in the city. So my condolences go out to his family, but my gratitude goes out to his family and to him as well for having such a big impact on our city for many, many years. And with that, that has been the Mayor's Weekly Update. We'll see you next week.